All right, good morning. Oh, really? We can do better. Good morning. Open with energy, folks. You'll hear that a little bit later. My name is Richard Chidester. I'm the lead instructor for driver training at the AAA National Office. In a nutshell, they send me all over the country teaching people how to be driving instructors. I also have the fantastic opportunity to work with our U.S. military. I do collision avoidance training, collision avoidance, and crash mitigation training. It's a great deal of fun. Get to turn things sideways. And I get to go to Hawaii a couple times a year. Unfortunately, I can't take my wife, and well, again, that usually costs me a cruise from time to time, but it is what it is. I've been in driver education now for, 28 years. I've been with AAA for 20 of those years. I actually just celebrated this year my 20th anniversary with the company. And I got to say, it's not a bad gig. This is all I do. I am solely driver education and safety. I know you guys hold multiple hats, being teachers and educators, and I commend it. This is my sole responsibility. So it is my passion, something I truly believe in. Now, you guys, who here is, I believe it, and hopefully everyone raise their hand. Y'all are using the current 15th edition How to Drive, right? Raise your hand. Okay, who is not using it? Raise your hand. Okay, it basically helps me out here a little bit with a couple of things. This is actually a very fluid session, unlike my other two, which are very scripted sessions. So for those of you using the current program, the 15th edition, how do you like it? You're not, what do you like about it? Sure, how much information? Folks, it is a 45-hour curriculum. It is the only curriculum in the country that meets the national standards for driver education and training. The only one. Now, you guys have 26, 24, 27. Okay. You can't do the entire book in 27 hours. It is not possible. So I'm sure you guys have figured out that, okay, I've got to trim it, and where do I trim it? And it's a tedious process. Who else is using it? What do you like about it? Because I'm going to get to the negatives here too. Don't worry. Yes. Interaction. Fantastic. Thank you. We worked very, very hard to make it extremely participant or student centered. That was a primary key for us. Yes.
I like in the PowerPoint how the video flips and they're long enough engagement, but not so long.
Sure, there's no 20 or 30-minute videos in there. We try to keep them short and sweet. You like the BamCams, the little inside-outside view? Little, maybe? Okay, that's fine. All right, now for the big question. And I can take it, I'm a big boy. What don't you like? Really, there's nothing you don't like about this? Go ahead. Okay, difficult to slim down for 27 hours, okay? And why is it difficult?
Trying to determine what is must know versus
Need to know versus nice to know type of stuff, okay? Okay. How about you? Get your hand up? All right. Would you all be happy if I told you we are currently making some modification and enhancements to the program? And one of the largest enhancements we are making is we are going to unlock the slide deck for you. So now you're going to be able to go in and hide slides. You'll be able to go in and modify slides if you want to throw some your state-specific information in between a couple of slides, or just change out a slide. You are now going to have that capability. Now, I say now, give me till July. It's actually on my task list of stuff to do. It's Rich's list of stuff I have to do. So give us till July. You'll have to re-download them. But
Hey guys, how are you?
modify the heights, wides, will make it much
What?
easier. To edit that
We'll
word
talk.
down for you. One of the other major enhancements.
Government's phone number.
This was, I'll take responsibility.
B.
If I messed up, I'll take responsibility. And I did.
Yeah?
We didn't add.
Listen.
Captioning.
Make sure you go empty your bladder so you don't have to go again. And
We are right now literally doing that. We have a guy working it. He's actually working on it today. So all of the videos will be closed captioned. So we know that will help as well with some deaf students and some people who just like to use that closed captioning or subtitles within the program. So I have a presentation prepared. It's very similar to some of what you may have seen. Goes over some of the elements. Is there anything specific you guys want me to address? Like I said, this workshop is pretty fluid. I'm pretty flexible here. So I can just go on with what I have. Or if there's something you guys want me to show, bring up, how do I use this? I'll do it. So you're using the big 4-inch binder with no slides. Oh, just the textbook. Well, you'll need to speak with Audra to get
Say that again?
download codes, and you'll be able to go to our
Oh, there
website.
you go.
You just download all of the PowerPoint files.
The
Now,
most what?
again, with the caveat, you're going to need to do it in July, or you're going to want to do it again in July.
Oh,
Because it will have
that's
more
completely made up. There's no such thing.
Anything else that is a must? You have to see me cover today. Yes. I do not. I am working on it. That's on my list of extras to do. But one of the things we are doing with the student workbook is we are looking to digitize it. So your students will be able to go in and use it electronically, and you will be able to monitor it electronically how they're using it. So we are going there as well. We're trying to go more and more paperless, trying to be eco-friendly. It's not for everybody. Some people want that tangible, thing in their hands, and that's fine. So no, I don't have it yet. Yes, I'm working on it. My initial reasoning, because I manage several of our programs, actually manage all of our driver training programs from the instructor standpoint. I want my instructors to go through the instructor guide, find the answers to all these things. And it's me being a little selfish probably, but I certainly understand it will make your lives a lot easier to have it in your hands. Knowing that though, some of the answers within that student workbook they're not succinct, they're not definitive. Some of them are, what's your thought on this? So I can't fill those in. That's something that, again, fluid in the classroom. All right. Anything else? Y'all can hear me all right? I know I've got a big mouth. Mikey in the back is going to keep you on time, so make sure I manage your time as well. So as you know, we have the SnapDrive 15th edition. I'm going to go in. I'm going to show you a couple of the things and what we do with them. Right off the bat, we have our SnapDrive exercises. And how many of you are using these? You like them? Not sure? Oh, you guys are going to make this difficult for me, aren't you? That's all right.
So these are what we have because we're trying to decide what is a must and what is this is the first thing that we look through.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Again, I've been doing DriverZED a while. I'm an old school, PowerPoints, and with a lot of words, I can tell the students how to do something and how to look for something. we believe a picture says 1,000 words. So here we're giving them an image to replace a slide full of words, and we're engaging those students. Now there's a set of 5 or 6 of these. You may only use 1 or 2 in your class. You don't have to use them all. That's the nice thing about it. And we've built the PowerPoint slide deck to be able to navigate back and forth. We felt pretty easily. So let's say you only get 2 in and you want to go back to the launch pad, it's very simple. If you haven't figured it out, you'll know by the end of the day. So we'll start with the first one here. So here the student is going to see an image for approximately 2 to 3 seconds. When you think about it, we're driving down the road. How much time do we actually have to process the scene, make a decision, and the whole search, evaluate, execute, or recipient, see whichever one you guys use, or PDA? We only have a few seconds to do that. So this is really designed to simulate that with the student and then get that feedback from the student. Let the student do the work. We're going to give you all the answers. That's what the instructor guide is for. But anything in the instructor guide, just so you know, is also in the PowerPoint speaking notes. Notice I don't have my big 4-inch instructor guide here because I no longer need it. Everything is in the speaking notes. It's in the guide, it's in your speaking notes. If you're not comfortable or not familiar with using that presenter view with the speaking notes, I highly recommend you play around with it. It took me it was a learning curve for me. It wasn't my norm. I had my presentation, I had my speaking notes next to it. I flipped through. This for me is so much easier. It is just for me. So let's take a quick look here. Come on. There we go. So now I'm going to ask my students, all right, what did you see on the road? Give me one thing you saw. Sure, you got a red truck. You want to know what kind of truck it was? That was actually a Chevy. I'm a Ford guy. You must be a Chevy guy. It's okay. But definitely, it was a truck broken down on the side of the road. Anyone notice anything else in that scene? Sure, there's a car in the other lane. You're on probably an expressway. I saw at least 3 lanes there. Overpass, very good. All right, so when you look at it, we have all those things. We've got multiple lanes. We've got a truck broken down. Again, you know, the Chevy, so there's my mouse. There's a little oil can over here underneath the truck. It's a Chevy, it takes oil. But here's the thing that most people miss, and sometimes your students are going to pick this up, is there's actually a guy standing on the tire of that car, of that vehicle. And imagine if he gets shocked by something or someone inside the car blows the horn and freaks him out. And he's going to go backwards into traffic. So not only are you going to ask your students what they saw, now you're going to ask them what should they do. Because it's one thing to see it and say, oh, it's great, okay. But what do I have to do about this? Slow down, move over a lane, look out for the driver. There's a myriad of things that we spoke out for you within the PowerPoint. Let's look at another one. All right, what do we see there? How about guys in the back? All the way in the back. Hi, yeah, when I ask you to move forward, that means I'm going to pick on you. Did you see anything on the slide? Oh, you guys are quiet. You're killing me here. How about up here? Anything? Sure. Construction barrels, anything else? Sure. Truck coming, narrow road, there's a whole bunch of things. So yeah, again, you're going to ask your students what's going on here. And again, we have several of these. You may only use 1 or 2. You may find a couple that you really, really like. The other ones, with the way the slide decks are going to be modifiable, you can just hide them if you don't want to use them. And then you'll never have to worry about them as you're going through your presentation. Now, the other thing we have, and these are BamCams. So we work with a company called Lytics. We are we have exclusive rights to these videos. We're the only curriculum in the country that can use them. And they're scenes of teens driving and having an incident or a mishap. You notice I don't use the term accident. Because in our world, in our profession, there aren't a lot of accidents. An accident means nothing could have been done to prevent it. So it's an incident, it's a crash, a collision, a mishap. Well, the military likes to use the term mishap a lot, but it is not an accident. If someone was speeding, if someone was drinking and driving, if someone blew a stop sign, it's no longer an accident. And people often ask me, Rich, well, what do you consider an accident? I'm driving down the road and a tree falls on my car. That's an accident. Not much you could have done about it. Now, if I'm driving down the road in a hurricane and a tree falls, I'm from Florida. So if I'm driving down the road in a hurricane and a tree falls on my car, I can question, gee, should I have been driving around in a hurricane? So was it really an accident or was it preventable? And in Florida, it's preventable. I'm also an avid motorcycle rider. I've got about 130,000 miles on my motorcycle so far. So I'm a daily driver. Just the mishaps I see are mind-numbing. So let's take a look at this first BamCam. So now you're going to ask your students again, should you choose to use these? We're not saying you have to, but these are nice pieces. I'm going to ask my students, well, what was going on before the crash? So what was this poor girl doing? Okay, she's distracted, looking for food, eating French fries. In fact, she was actually eating the fries after the incident. So those must have been some really tasty French fries. That's the only thing I can imagine. But your students are going to be like, well, why did she still eat the French fries? And hopefully, the students are going to see this, that this is a real thing. This is not staged at all. And the reason we know this is because with these BamCam videos, we have, my gosh, we probably have 150 of them, not in the program. We have about 150 B-roll footage of this. And we know that the teens forget the cameras in the car when they start picking their nose. And we have several of those actually on camera. So that's when you know they've gotten very comfortable with it in the car. And so these are not staged in any way, shape, or form. I have another one. This one's scary. That one makes my heart skip a beat. One of my children was almost hit by a driver going on a bus, going past a school bus, and it just really freaks me out a little bit. But again, the question is, what was going on before? Was the driver distracted? So there's a whole list of questions that we give you. So how did the driver contribute to the crash? And what should we learn from the driver's experience? So these are questions you will ask your students. Now we give you several questions, and maybe you only have time in that 26 or 27 hours for one of them. And that's fine. We're not saying you have to use it all. That make sense to y'all? All right, so as I mentioned, this is the only curriculum in the country that meets the 45-hour national curriculum standards put out by NHTSA and ANSTI. We built it specifically for that. So, and one of the biggest lifts for us was vehicle technology. The national standards call for over 90 different vehicle technology references, which I think is way too much. I've actually worked with the National Standards Committee on this to kind of reduce it because some of the stuff they're asking for is very, very limited production on high-end cars that most people are never going to see, at least not in the near future. So those are the ones you're going to skip. We do have some primary ones in here. We've got some great videos of, not only what the technology can do, but more importantly, what that technology can't do. Now, we've updated content on distracted driving. The Dutch reach, who here knows what the Dutch reach is? Raise your hand. Okay, if you don't. And it took me a little bit of practice to do this and to get my wife to do this, talking about people setting their ways. That's my wife and I. After 32 years, it's just one of those things. But what the Dutch reach is you're going to use your right hand and you're going to reach over your body to the door. Now, what this does is it forces you to look over your shoulder and behind you. So you don't open the door and have a bicyclist run into the door, or a car take the door off, or a motorcyclist take the door off. But that's the Dutch reach. So it's literally just reaching across the body with your inboard hand to the door handle and opening it that way. And it will literally force you to do that and look over your shoulder. All right. Yes. Talk with Audra. Yeah, Audra's the coordinator for all of it. So she will make sure you get exactly what you need and then some. We can also do, like, if there's several of you in a school and you want to get together, I can do a separate show for something like that as well. Down the road, just let us know. We want to make sure you guys are fully prepared and have everything you need. And if you have questions, I'm the guy. I am the go-to person for this. So if you have questions on something, you'll shoot me an email. Well, my cards are available, and the information will be up here later today as well. So additional information on cannabis and driving. Marijuana and driving, we know, we're seeing more and more states either have it for medical or recreational, and recreational seems to be taking center stage lately. We may not like it. We're not going to be able to stop it. It is coming. If it's not here, you guys don't have it here yet, right? You have medical or recreational? You have medical here, but not recreational, correct? We're seeing that across the state more and more and more. Ours is not a don't do drugs campaign. Ours is a, if you smoke marijuana and drive, here's how it's going to affect your driving. Very similar to alcohol. Okay, a lot of the same things keep coming up over and over, and there's ongoing research going on with this. One of the big pieces we have is slow down and move over. So now every single state in the country, this now also includes tow truck drivers. When my companion and I, my partner and I were rolling from Boise down here yesterday, you guys have great big signs on the road, slow down and move over. I actually took pictures of a couple of them because I'm going to use them in my next development. This includes our towing fleet. So AAA was instrumental working with American Towmen to get this approved on a national level. So every single state in the country now has slow down, move over for all emergency, including our towing fleets. Too many people are getting killed. And as I mentioned before, we have a massive section, an entire chapter just on vehicle technologies. So one of the other pieces we did is our target zones. Again, PowerPoint, we feel a picture is better than words. You'll notice, and these are actual slides out of the program that you're seeing, that you'll be seeing. They come right from the program. You notice there's not a ton of words on these slides. One of the questions I have gotten from teachers in the past was, well, how are my students supposed to write everything down? And it makes my head spin just a little bit because they're not supposed to. If there's an old saying, I'm sure you all are aware of it. If not, you can write it down. Beg, borrow, cheat, and steal, for information. That's what I do. So I picked this up from somebody, and it was, tell me and I'll forget. Show me, I might remember. But if you involve me, I will understand. This is involving your students. This will help commit it to memory. That is what the newest, latest research shows. Okay, involve me, and it helps commit more to memory. It's actually pretty cool. Nice concept. So we have target zone exercises, and there's a series of these exercises. Every other chapter, I believe, has a set of these at the end of each chapter. So again, you can decide whether or not you want to use them. We're not saying you have to, but it will make your class go very, very smooth. Your students are going to be involved and engaged. They're not going to walk out of class going, DriverZED, I got to go to DriverZED. Hopefully they're coming in and leaving that class going, yeah, I was all right. That was engaging, and I really had a good time in class. That's what I want to get out of it. I remember when I took DriverZED in high school. My DriverZED teacher was my algebra teacher, Mr. Burson. It was ironic because years later I informed him that I am now a driving instructor. He kind of giggled because he knows some of my past, and well, it wasn't always pretty. Still isn't always pretty, but nevertheless, he felt that was pretty cool. But I can remember the classroom being the Bueller, very quiet, very monotone. That's not today's classroom. You'll hear a little bit more about that in my other presentations should you attend them. So target zone exercises are designed where you will now ask your students what zone or zones on the screen should you mainly focus your search in. So what zone or zones would you guys mainly focus your searching on? Who wants to give me one of them? Anyone? Huh? I heard someone say 4. Okay, anything else? We got 1, okay. 2, also by 2. Sure. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking the question. Now, as the instructor, all you have to do is then click the mouse, and we reveal the first 2. Hold on, I'm not done. So we know zones 1 and 2, you got construction, you got bio. That's the main focus. That's the primary human life. Now, being a motorcyclist, this is concerned for me. 4, 5, and 6, all the way across my lane. That's gravel. That will drop a motorcycle. If I'm a good motorcyclist, I have already identified that. I have already readied myself to approach that and cross it well in advance. That's why it isn't the main focus anymore. Because I should have already seen it if I've done my due diligence driving. Here's another one. So what zone or zones should you make the focus your search in here? Anyone? Speak up. You have 7 down here? Okay. 8? 7, 8, 9? Sure. Now again, primary were 8 and 9. This was actually taken on Lake Mary Boulevard, where I live, and not all of our images are taken in Florida, which you'll see. But 7 is a concern. I have seen people come from that far left side of the road, shoot all the way across. So it's certainly something to be aware of. But in this case, 7 and 8 are my primaries, my main focus, because this is where my intended path of travel is. So when you do these target zones with your students, they're going to see 2 sets. The first set doesn't have any of the builds in it. When you ask what zone or zones that the students should be looking in, they'll write it in their student workbook right here. And it's the same every time you see one of these target zone exercises, we do the same thing. So here they're going to write in their zone zones. And then after you've gone through them all, it'll go through each build with the click of the mouse. Now you can also bypass the first set if you want and just do them individually on the second set by having them write it in the instructor with their student workbook, then go over it and then do the build, and you can do it individually that way too. It depends on how you want to do it. It eliminates 5 slides is what it does. Now, all this information is also in your instructor guides. We give you everything you need to hold the conversation with your student. Additionally, if, like I mentioned before, if it's in the instructor guide, all that information you see on the right-hand side is also in the slide itself. So all of those speaking points that you see there on the screen are also in the slide. Speaking of the workbook, each chapter starts with 5 pre-quiz questions. So each chapter actually has a total of 15 questions. There's 5 pre-questions and multiple choice, 5 post multiple choice, and 5 post short answer questions. And those are in the back of the textbook. When you do the first pre-quiz, your students will actually write the answers in that upper right-hand corner. That's what those blocks are for. So as you're going through the first set there on the left, those are all in PowerPoint. So each one is a PowerPoint slide, and they're just going to write their answers right in and go over as you go. It's very simple. Also within that workbook, we have done an interview with an experienced driver exercise. We feel that talking with the parent, mentor, or guardian about what they've experienced driving will help them develop hopefully good skills on, hey, you know, my mom did this and I don't want to do that because mom crashed. There's a story we've told. I have 2 children, 19 and 28. I taught them both how to drive. It was, I think, a horrible experience for them. It was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do is teach my own kids, and I literally taught thousands of children how to drive. But doing your own, I had to come out of the dad role and put on my instructor hat. And I told them that. I said, you know, I'm your instructor. I'm not your dad. I'm not your friend now. Right? I'm your driving instructor. It's a whole different animal. They've done very well. But we would always share a story about how my wife, when she was younger, before we got together, I was driving a Mustang up north, hit some black ice, lost control, wrecked her Mustang, destroyed it. Fortunately, no injuries. And the questions we got from our kids were, well, how'd that happen? And went through the whole scenario with them. And now, granted, we don't have black ice in Florida, which is actually quite nice. But they understood that where the mistakes were made, and that's what we want them to learn from. We also have a vehicle inventory sheet for those students. We have seen families with multiple vehicles, and the students will jump from one vehicle to the other, not really knowing what technology is in either one. So I could have 2 Chevy Luminas side by side, same year, different body styles. And the technology within those 2 vehicles can be different, right? Just by the different body style package. So it's very important that they know what technology is in that vehicle. Also in the workbook, we have a parent coaching guide. Now, we are not trying to turn these parents into driving instructors. In fact, as driving instructors, we're probably trying to train out a lot of what their parents have taught them. All the bad habits. And see, I see some of you guys giggling, so I do get it. I understand. But we give them some basic information to get them started so they're not So this, if the opportunity arises and they can go out driving with their students, they're not freaking out, and you might be getting a student with at least a little bit of driving experience before they get to you, which can be, again, helpful or hurtful depending on how you want to look at it. We give them some basic research-based lessons. Again, we're not trying to turn them into driving instructors. We're not giving, all the procedures how to parallel park. Funny thing is there's a million different ways to do it. I have my way. Y'all may have your own way to do that, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying mine's right. It works. As long as you can get it done, that's fine. We also do a driving log for the students, and this is actually downloadable from our website at drivertraining.aaa.biz. You'll see that later. And they can just go download more and more of these sheets so they can keep track of their driving, whether they have to turn it into the state or not is a material. But we all know, you guys have what, 50 hours that the parents have to do here? 40? How many of you think the parents are doing 40 hours with their kids? Yeah, that's what I thought. They go down to the drugstore for 20 minutes and they mark it off as an hour. We know they're not doing 40 hours. My poor kids had to log over 100 hours of driving with me just before I let them even go and get their, take the test for their driver's license. They're like, Dad, but the state only says 50. I said, yeah, but I'm not the state. I'm your dad. I tell the states, what they're doing wrong. That's kind of my job. They didn't necessarily like it. It delayed them getting their license. But knock on wood, they haven't been in anything serious. My daughter was in a wreck, not her fault. Someone actually went sideways on the expressway, and there was cars to her right, so she wound up clipping them. Fortunately, no injuries. Definitely freaked my daughter out a little bit, though, but she knew how to handle the situation. As you know, we also have a textbook. Here, as I mentioned earlier, it was not all shot in the state of Florida. If this is the state of Florida, folks, I am leaving town in a hurry. I'm originally, like I said, from Connecticut. I know what feet of snow is. There is a reason I live in Florida. I don't care to deal with it anymore. We talked about textbook. Big 4-inch binder filled with a lot of words. All that's in the PowerPoint. I like to build games, and again, that is involvement and engagement. A couple of you have mentioned that really you enjoy the engagement. How many know how to build, do some PowerPoint slides? Okay, and hopefully you'll appreciate what I had to do this, because I built all of these. But this is our Flippy game. So again, it's just adding that gamification, and again, the research is showing this is, what the expectation is in the classroom now. So here you're just going to flip some cards over for the students. All right, and in this case, we're talking about idle acceleration and then what it is. If they get it wrong, okay, oh, that was the right answer. All you do is click it and it flips back. So to make it do that flip, there's 72 transitions on this slide to make that go that smooth. It just takes hours to build. I hope you appreciate it. This is the fun one. This is our sign color quiz. Now, it used to be paper. What color is the sign? Again, pictures 1,000 words here, folks. So we want to get you involved and engaged, even in the back of the room. So if I asked you what color this sign was, you would say, sure. If I asked you what color this sign was, you would say, I would hope it would be green. How about this sign? Very, very good. So it's built the exact same way. This is from the slide deck. All it is just a click of the mouse each and every time to go through the build. Let's see how good you really are. Not that you're not. How about the color of this sign? Really? Orange? You sure? Yeah, just check it. How about this one? I would hope so. It's right. How about this round one? Sure. Now, for years, I had always pitched that there was only one round die cut sign in the arsenal of signs. I was wrong. This sign, this evacuation route sign, is also a round die cut sign. But I had to change what I did. So you do the reveal, and sure, you got your orange, your red, and your blue. Now, we all know what a red 8-sided sign is, and that's stop. When a stop is classified as a focal view and a forward momentum, cease movement, stop, before the little white line. Not so that the tires are up to it, not so that the bumper rolls past it, but the entire vehicle is behind the little white line. So if we know that a red 8-sided sign is a stop sign, with a raise of the hand, who can tell me what a silver 8-sided sign is? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I got a couple here. All right, you're first. What is it? Sure, it's the back of a stop sign. Why is this important? Defensive driving. Okay, what else? Sure, you can see if you're at a coming to a 4-way intersection. You know that the guy across the way has a stop sign. In no way does it mean they're going to stop. We know that 90% of people do not stop for stop signs in residential areas. It is a staggering statistic, but it is nevertheless a statistic. You also might be going the wrong way on the one-way street. Just a little indicator that you see that silver 8-sided sign. Have stop signs always been red? They actually were yellow at one point in time. Kind of like the yield sign was yellow at one point in time. They changed that in about 70, I want to say 72 or 73. They changed from a yellow yield sign to a red yield sign. It's actually in the instructor guide somewhere. How about this one here? What might that indicate? No parking. Sure, it's actually a fire lane. So again, folks, these are just reveals. Nice thing about fire lanes, and this was courtesy of Anaheim Police Department. You park in front of a fire hydrant, the fire department has every authority to go through your vehicle. You have absolutely no legal recourse. Let your students know. How are they going to explain that to the insurance company or mommy and daddy? How about this green one? Excellent, excellent. This is actually really big out here in the western side of the country. How about this burgundy one? Bus lane, very good, excellent. That one gets missed a lot. Now we mentioned, we also have in the program our RAPT, R-A-P-T, Risk Awareness and Prevention Training, or DriverZED. This is one, I don't know how many you use. We know it's cumbersome to use in the classroom. If you skip it, I'm not going to ding you for it. I get it. I fully understand. We are in the process right now, as part of the next enhancement, that the students will be able to go take this online as just a subsidy. Kind of like the other, you guys use another one, Street Smart. Thank you very much. They'll be able to take it like that as homework, and the experience is so much better and so much closer to the research. This RAPT program was delivered to students in California, and with those students, they saw almost a 20% reduction in crashes. Folks, in our neck of the woods, 20% is huge. That is massive in our world. I am going to just click through this really quick. All you're doing, you're having the students, you can pass a mouse around, and this was designed pre-COVID. So now you're probably not going to be passing a mouse around the room. It's just one of those things. Full robust PowerPoints. The instructor guide is laid out. I'm kind of watching the time here. The instructor guide is laid out very simply for questions. So these are all questions you're going to ask your students. And then they're going to give you hopefully the answers underneath. Let them do the work. And if they don't give you something, then you've got a little more material to fill it in. It makes it simple. Everything is built in segments within the instructor guide, and each segment is attached to a trigger in our launch pad. So with the launch pad, you can literally go anywhere in the program just by simply clicking the right-hand side. You just click one of those buttons, and it takes you right there. I'll go to this one. So this is the launch pad I developed strictly for this program. So if I want to go to a sign flip game, I just click that section in the launch pad, and it takes me right to the sign flip game. This is about 100 slides in. But that's not where I want to go. All I need to do is click the upper left-hand portion of the slide, and it takes me right back to the launch pad. The entire program is wired that way. So wherever you are in the program, if you click that upper left-hand corner, it'll take you right back to the launch pad. All the videos are embedded. As I mentioned, we will be closed captioning all of these. This was an oversight on my part, therefore I do apologize. You can see our slides. This is just a couple of our slide builds. Each one of these is a click. Not a lot of words, typically only about 4 bullet points. This is what you see as the instructor. All right, so we have the student sees over on the left-hand side. You see that your speaking notes are on the bottom right. Your next slide is on the top right. So every slide is built this way for ease of use. Yes?
Okay, so are you? Well, the ones we have don't have the.
Talk to Audra, talk to Mike. Mike in the back. Hi, Mike.
Do you guys not have the embedded video?
We don't have the videos or the notes.
All right. We have it down. You can re-download everything. I'm sorry you have to do that, but yes, you can re-download it. It will have all of this in it. And it's free. You don't have to pay for it. You're just gonna go download it. Yes.
The one other thing is you have some videos downloaded and others are on the.
Everything is embedded.
On the.
Every single video is embedded now. Okay. All right, folks, that's my time. We have our next speaker coming up in about 9 minutes. I'll be standing by over here to answer some more questions, and I can do it for you as well. Thank you all for your time.